Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon all. May we always be in the protect of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Amin. Well, to be direct, we of the group second of Dismayani Pohan, Ica Oktaviani, Hanifah Putri, and Rian Anthony will present our group materials.
The definition deductive argument. The first, a deductive argument is an argument that is intended by the arguer to be deductively valid, that it is to provide a guarantee of the truth of the conclusion provided the argument premises are true. The second, in other words, if the premises are true, it will be impossible for the conclusion to be false. This is what we call a deductively valid argument. The three, as long as its premises are true, the argument is solved. Deductive argument. For example, please check in your picture. Okay, next, example deductive argument. This is argument. It's sunny in Singapore. If it's sunny in Singapore, then he won't be carry an umbrella. So, he won't be carry an umbrella. Here, the argument conclusion follow the word so. The two premises of this is argument word. If true, guarantee the truth of the conclusion. However, we give not information that will enable us to decide that whether the two premises are about true. So, we cannot assess whether the argument is deductively solved. It's on or the other, but we do know which if it turns out that the argument has all false premises and so in unsolved. This is won't change the fact it is valid.
Inductive argumentation. There are a variety of inductive arguments that fit into the description of synthetic logic. In particular, however, we will only pay attention to one very important theme, namely analogous arguments, which are above either in the context of everyday reasoning or in philosophical argument. The example of inductive argument. Example: I like almost all science fiction works from someone who is an author, so I conclude that I might easily select science fiction work. For note, the strengths and weakness of the analogy arguments depend on several factors. The first, the number of samples used, the more examples, the better. Second, number and kinds of characteristics that are similar. 3. The power of excellence and its premises. And the last, there is the prevalence of the mentioned traits.
What is premise? Premise means to be completely reductive. Premise is the logic on which your story is based, the message the reader takes away from the work. Premise is usually a truth or conclusion, often about human nature, that is illuminated by the events in the story. Some corny but useful examples of the premise: true love never dies, what goes around comes around, you can buy happiness. Or some examples of a more concrete premise might be: life exists on Mars, machines will rise up over humans, animals are smarter than people. Make sure that once you have a theme and a premise you want to explore in your story, that it doesn't become a moral and the story doesn't become perspective. What is a conclusion? A conclusion is what you will leave with your reader. It wraps up your essay. It demonstrates to the reader that you accomplished what you set out to do. It shows how you have proved your thesis. It provides the reader with a sense of closure on the topic. A premise is a statement in an argument that provides reason or support for the conclusion. There can be one or many premises in a single argument. Conclusion is a statement in an argument that indicates of what the arguer is trying to convince the reader or listener. What is the argument trying to prove? There can be only one conclusion in a single argument. Examples of arguments. I have gone to work 5 times a week for the last 10 years. During this time, it has always taken me 30 minutes to get to work. Tomorrow, I will drive to work. Therefore, tomorrow, it will take me 30 minutes to get to work. I have gone to work 5 times a week for the last 10 years is the premise 1. During this time, it has always taken me 30 minutes to get to work. Premise 2. Tomorrow, I will drive to work. Premise 3. Therefore, tomorrow it will take me 30 minutes to get to work is the conclusion.
Deductive. If premises or assumptions are true, then the claim is absolutely true, 100% certain. Cannot be proven false. Inductive. If premises or assumptions are believable or conceivable, then the claim is probably likely to be true, 51% or more certain. Hence, it can be proven false. Inductive and deductive argument. In deductive argument, the conclusion is claimed to follow from the premises with necessity or certainty. The claim is that if premises are true, then the conclusion must be true. Whether that is indeed the fact is another question. We want to know what the author is asserting. In inductive argument, the conclusion is claimed to follow from premises with a high degree of probability. If the premises are true, then it is likely that the conclusion is true.
Thank you very much for your attention on the explanation of our material. For more and less, we apologize because the perfection belongs only to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.